Hello everybody, a very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the StudyIQ IAS. My name is Abhishek Singh and I welcome you all in the next version, the next episode of the Unsung Women Revolutionaries of India. And today we are going to talk about the grand old lady of India, but for the revolutionaries. Hello everybody, all right. Very good morning to all of you. Welcome to the StudyIQ IAS. So guys, I hope that all of you must have heard about the grand old lady of India who was Aruna Asaf Ali. But in today's lecture, for the revolutionaries, a lady who was regarded as the grand old lady or the grandmother of all the revolutionaries, and her name was Madam Bhikaji Kama, about whom we are going to talk today. So there was a saying that she had once said that, behold, the flag of independent India is born. It has been made sacred by the blood of young Indians who sacrificed their lives in its honor. In the name of this flag, I appeal to the lovers of freedom all over the world to support this struggle of India's independence against the British occupation. These were the words she had said during a very well-known event in 1907 organized in Germany. The place was Stuttgart. So that was the day when she embarked upon a journey where she was declared as the source of inspiration for all the revolutionaries of India. So today we will know about her story. We will discuss about the contributions she made in her life for her motherland. And as you can see that this sequence, this series of the flags of our country, basically we can see the flags related to India's freedom struggle, and you can observe this was the first flag in 1906, which was basically the unofficial flag of India unfurled at Kolkata. However, this flag is really special because this is also known as the Berlin Committee flag. Okay, the Berlin Committee flag, which was raised by Madam Bhikaji Kama in 1907, and that was actually the second flag of India to be concerned. There are other flags as well, like each of them, they have their own story, they have their own journey. 1917, this flag was actually unfurled during the Home Rule movement, or in 1921, this flag was adopted in the Congress session, and after 1931, this was the, you can say, the penultimate accepted flag, and this was the final flag that was adopted after independence. Okay, so is there anything special related to each of the flag? Definitely yes. But today we will talk about the story of the second flag and the lady who was behind this one. Good morning, everyone. Now, so if we talk about the life journey of Madam Bhikaji Kama, so she was born on September 24th in the year 1861. And her family, a supremely rich family of Parsis who had enormous wealth at their helm, and they could have provided each and every source of relief and facilities to Madam Bhikaji Kama, as she was the child of this family. However, when she attended her school at Alexandra Girls Institution in Bombay, and was a quite brilliant student, was having a bright future lying ahead. However, the scenario of the Indian nation at that point of time, whatever was going on, she got influenced from each and everything in it, and slightly started to move towards the political journey, towards the political ambition. Do not forget that it was the time when the educated Indian youth was gaining the political consciousness. It was gaining the political consciousness political awakening. And she, going to such a brilliant school, being such a brilliant student, could not have evaded the effect of that. And that is when she met her future spouse, right? In the year 1885, on the 3rd of August, she married a very well-known advocate, Rustamji Kama, a very well-known lawyer, Rustamji Kama, who was not very much involved in the freedom struggle. In fact, the entire family of Rustamji, it was against any sort of protest, any type of political activism against the British rule. Rather, they were staunch supporters of the British rule. And the lady, she was against the British rule. She wanted to create that awareness against the British atrocities. So overall, what happened, that the difficulties were there in the marriage of Madam Bhikaji Kama along with her husband, right, Rustamji. So what happened, that these troubles actually led her to indulge in the public life, indulge in the social service. And in the year 1896, as we all are aware that this was the time period 1895, 96, 97, 98, these were the time periods when Pune city nearby Bombay, it was suffering from the huge havoc of the bubonic plague. Remember the incidents in 1897? What did the Chapekar brothers do? Right? I hope that you might have heard that incident where the plague commissioner, Mr. Rand, was killed by Chapekar brothers. Actually, the similar time period in the year 1896, she also started getting indulged into the service of the people who were infected with the plague. And what happened? She started serving people wearing a bland white apron, giving up all the luxuries of the lifestyle that she was used to have. And as it happens during any type of pandemic, that while serving the patients, she also got the infection. And she became ill. In fact, she became furiously ill, right? Severely ill due to the bubonic plague. And it was decided that she would be leaving for London in the year 1902 to get further treatment. So see, right, so she decided to leave India in 1902 for the further treatment, and afterwards the entire story, the entire canvas of her life, it simply got changed. She devoted her entire life to the philanthropy, social work, serving the nation. In fact, let me tell you that she not only fought for the human rights and autonomy from British rule, but also she was a champion of the women right and suffrage. Let me tell you one incident, that once she went to Egypt, and it was an event to address the revolutionaries against the British rule. And you know what? When her conference was there and she saw a group of young men, revolutionaries, all of them coming to attend it, she simply posed one question, that I can see, I can see only half of the population. Where is the other half? Such was her belief towards the gender equality in that time, when many European countries were also not having the concept of gender equality. At that time, she was thinking about it. All right. So that's why Indians dubbed her as the mother of the revolution, whereas her Russian friends, her Russian admirers, they used to call her as the Indian Joan of Arc. Who was Joan of Arc? The very famous French revolutionary girl, right? The source of inspiration for the millions of revolutionaries across the world. So Russians compared her with the Joan of Arc. That was her influence among the revolutionaries. If we talk about her life journey and her presence in Europe, so when she went to London in 1902, stayed there for a while, and then she started pursuing her interest. In fact, her efforts to ensure the well-being of India, Indian revolutionaries and Indian independence. So there she met Dadabhai Naoroji. Do not forget that it was the time when Dadabhai Naoroji had also embarked his journey as a legislator in the UK in the year 1893, and afterwards he remained in UK for several years, right, arousing the awareness, creating awareness and the wave of sympathy for the cause of India's freedom in UK. And then she met Dadabhai Naoroji, who was a very strong critic of the British economic policies. Remember that he had written a book called Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, nearby the very, very same time, like 1900, 1901. That was the time when Dadabhai Naoroji, right? Then R.C. Datta, Ramesh Chandra Datta, then M.G. Ranade, all these people, they were active in criticizing the economic policies of the British, in demanding the legislative reforms, and she also decided to do something for the India's independence. But in a different way, because she also came in contact with the other Indian nationalists like Veer Savarkar, Lala Hardayal, Shyamji Krishna Varma, and she started participating in the meetings taking place at the Hyde Park in London. And those meetings consisted of the revolutionaries who were taking shelter in UK. Shyamji Krishna Varma, the very well-known revolutionary who in fact published a paper as well called Indian Sociologist, who had a house called as the India House in London, who actually ran the programs of the scholarship to sponsor the education of the young revolutionary minds of India in UK. So these people actually formed an association, in fact a group of the revolutionaries in India, in UK, and started doing several activities. So what happened? That UK very soon realized their presence and pushed them to leave the country, and that was the time when Bhikaji Cama actually left for Paris. And what happened? That when she lived in exile, obviously, so for a significant portion of her life, she used to travel across the Europe and America to obtain the supplies and aid for her organization called as the Paris Indian Society. Which society? Paris Indian Society. You know what? Due to the inspirations of Madam Bhikaji Cama, another organization called as the Berlin Independence Committee will be formed in the year 1914. Revolutionaries like Virendranath Chattopadhyay, Lala Hardayal, all these people will be getting coordinated with the help of Madam Bhikaji Cama. So she would be playing the role of a fulcrum around which the entire community of the revolutionaries coming across the country from Punjab, from Bengal, even including the people of people from the Canada and USA, they were all getting merged along with each other in UK or in France only due to the coordination of Madam Bhikaji Cama, right? So that was actually her organization, and it was like a safe haven for the Indian revolutionaries. And if we talk about the presence of Indian revolutionaries in Europe, right, so you can clearly understand that it was in fact a big number that the Indian revolutionaries were there. But during the First World War, what happened? Britain and France, they became the allied parties. And what happened? That Britain actually forced France to chase out the revolutionaries who were staying in her land, right? So once the France became a difficult place to survive, they actually left for Germany now. They left for Germany because Germany was the anti-party of Britain and France both. Right? In fact, she had also helped Lala Hardayal to launch the revolutionary paper called Bande Mataram. Guys, remember, Bande Mataram was the revolutionary paper published by Lala Hardayal, and not just that, the another newspaper with a similar name, Bande Mataram, that was also published by Aurobindo Ghosh and Bipin Chandrapal in the similar time period of 1906-1907 during the Swadeshi and Bang Bhang movement in India. In Europe, it was published by Lala Hardayal. Okay. So what happened that during the First World War's time period, the French land became unsafe for the revolutionaries, and that is when she started traveling across the continent, started going to Egypt, to Irish revolutionaries, to Russian revolutionaries, right? Even the French socialists were also her admirers as well as supporters. That means she actually had got a wide reach amongst the revolutionaries of the entire world in that time, and that is when she actually arranged the escape, the evasion of very famous incident, right? Evasion of Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, when he actually jumped off the window of the ship that was carrying him, right? And he swam across the English Channel to reach on the land of France. Got it? Even though he was arrested again after it, but that incident actually left a great mark on the journey of Indian revolutionary movement. All right, and that was all due to the personal courage of Savarkar, but also due to the coordination, the management, and the efforts done by this lady who was actually moving each and every revolutionary in that period. All right. Now going across, if we just come across the Stuttgart flag hosting, that was the highlight of her life as a revolutionary. What happened that on the August 21st, 1907, the conference of the International Socialist Conference at Stuttgart in Germany. What happened when the participants started raising the flag of their nations, and it was the turn of the India's participants, Madam Bhikaji Kama, she actually took out a flag from her bag and she opposed that the representatives were actually starting to wave the flag of British India. She actually took out the flag from her bag and unfurled it, saying that now this is the flag that we are going to have for our country. This is the flag that we have made from the blood and sacrifices of our revolutionaries, our freedom fighters, and that is why this flag should be considered as the national flag of India. The people who were there were not very much supportive of this step, let me tell you, because this was considered something outrageous. But she had this indomitable courage to stand in front of all these, disagreements, all these, gazing eyes on her. She had that indomitable courage. So what happened? She did not phase even a bit of it and declared that this was a flag that would be called the flag of India. And let me tell you that if you have not seen that, this was the flag about which we are talking. This was the flag in the 1906, having 8 lotus flower, green strip, yellow strip and red strip. The yellow strip had Vande Mataram and the red strip had the presence of moon on the left, that is crescent on the left, and the sun on the right. Here, this new version, which was jointly designed by V.D. Savarkar, Bhikaji Kama and Shyamji Krishna Verma. This flag, it had saffron, yellow and green colors. It had the, basically 8 stars, one sun and one moon with star, and the Vande Mataram was written in the central strip. All right. So basically, you know what? There are different versions of the similar type of flag which were actually, printed across the country in the upcoming times. This one had lotus. Okay. This one had lotus. However, if we talk about the another versions, they also had stars. If we talk about the color combination, so some of the flags also had the blue color. Okay. In fact, let me tell you that this green indicated the Mohammedan association, yellow indicated the Hindu association, and red indicated the Buddhist association. This sun was the symbol of this Hinduism, and the moon was the symbol of Islam, and the lotus was the symbol of the purity and serenity of the motherland. Okay. So all these symbolic representations, they made their own space in the hearts of Indian revolutionaries. Even today you can observe that we have got the presence of either lotus or these colors, either these symbols or these colors directly or indirectly in the flag or in the national symbols of our country. All right, in the national symbols of our country. So basically, this was the flag that actually created history for the revolutionaries of India. All right. So now, when we talk about her life, which was nonetheless legendary, but what happened that when she was living in exile in Europe, she lived in Europe till 1935. When she fell gravely ill, she fell, badly ill. In fact, she suffered a stroke. She was paralyzed. She was having a paralysis stroke. And after this disease, when she requested the government to allow her to return to her motherland, the government granted this permission on the grounds that she would not be in a condition to participate in the revolutionary movement any further. And by the time in the 1935-36, the revolutionary movement was almost dead because the people, the freedom fighters, they had adopted a more organized, a more mainstream style of the struggle. All right. So what happened? That after 33 years, she got a chance to return to her motherland as a 74 years old lady. All right. She returned to Mumbai but could not survive for long. In fact, she died. She took her last breath in the month of August 30, right? The date was 13th in the year 1936. All right. So that was the time when India lost her freedom fighter. India lost her most courageous female leader. I hope that you would be agreeing that she was probably the most courageous lady among all the mainstream female leaders of India at that moment of time. Okay. So what was the last wish that she had? You know what? She had bequeathed most of her personal assets. She had actually reserved most of her personal assets to the Avabai Petit orphanage for the girls. Even during the last time, she was thinking about the welfare of these underprivileged children. So that she actually donated all of her wealth to this orphanage in Mumbai. And in the year 1962, India's 11th Republic Day, on 26th of January, the Posts and Telegraph Department issued a stamp in her honor, and this was the stamp that was issued in her honor. Not just that, in the year 1997, the Indian Coast Guard also commissioned a Priyadarshini class fast patrolling vessel as the name called as the Indian Coast Guard ship. Indian Coast Guard ship. What was the name? Bhikaji Kama. Okay. Which class of fast vessel? Right. Bhikaji Kama. Right. Which class of the fast vessel? Fast moving vessel. Okay, the Priyadarshini class. Priyadarshini class. Okay. So that was the way in which Indian Coast Guard decided to pay the homage to this grand old lady, grand old mother of all the revolutionaries in India. And I hope that this session today must have enlightened you about this wonderful, about this courageous personality that India had produced, as most of us might not be aware in that much detail about this great revolutionary. So tomorrow I will be back with the story of another legendary female warrior, female revolutionary of India, another legendary daughter of India. So till then, stay with us. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do it. And if you have not seen the previous videos of this series, go watch it now. And if you happen to like it, do not forget to hit that like button. Let us meet tomorrow. Till then, take care everybody. Bye-bye and have a great day ahead. Jai Hind.